You may have heard of AR500 steel. It's an abrasion-resistant, extremely durable, and impact-resistant steel. It has a hardness rating of 500. That's where the name comes from, AR500 steel. But I bet you haven't heard of a new product on the market called SR500 steel. This steel has a hardness rating of 590, making it more impact resistant, but lighter than AR500 steel. So today, we're gonna be putting both of these panels head to head, and we're gonna see which one comes out on top. But first, I wanna give a huge thank you to Oshcut. They sent these plates out for me to test today, and they also offered a 50% discount to my viewers. So go to oshcut.com/overlanding creation, or click on the link down below to get 50% off your first order. Let me show you how easy it is to order your custom plates from Oshcut. Type in oshcut.com/overlanding creation, or click on the link below. Once on the website, click on instant pricing. That'll bring up a window to add your custom files. Simply drag and drop your files here. If you would like the file for this particular plate design, leave a comment down below and I can share it with you. Now you can select the type of material you want to use. As you can see, Oshcut offers a large variety of options. They offer SR500 steel as well as AR500 steel. For my particular plates, I selected SR500 steel for the testing that I want to do. Once you've selected your material, choose your desired thickness. I chose 4 different thicknesses for my testing. As you can see, they offer fast shipping and great prices. Once you go to checkout, based on your custom design, you may get a nesting discount. I saved a total of $20.23 on this order. Oshcut gave me full transparency to show you the exact pricing so you can see just how affordable these custom plates are. Keep in mind, these prices are current at the time of uploading this video, but are subject to change over time. So thank you to Oshcut, and let's get on the range. Oshcut was nice enough to send us a variety of thicknesses of these plates. So we're gonna start off down here with 1/2 inch of SR500 steel. That is a lot of steel. I can't imagine anything's gonna make it through that. Stepping down one, we have this one, which is 3/8 inch, so just under 1/2 inch. Then the AR500 steel plate kind of falls right in line here. This one is 0.34 inch, so a little less than 1/2 inch, just a hair less than that one. Below that, we have our other SR500 plate from Oshcut. This one is 1/4 inch, so that one is very thin. You can see it's a little bit thinner. This wants to focus, there we go, a little bit thinner than that AR500 steel plate. This one down here is the one I'm the most interested in. So this one here is 0.098, so less than 1/10 of an inch thick, which is extremely thin. It's also very, very light. So those of you that run these AR500 steel plates in your body armor, in your plate carriers, you'll know that while they do a good job of stopping bullets, they're also very heavy and very clunky. So my interest today in this SR500 steel is to exceed the impact resistance of the AR500 steel in a thinner platform. So really, if this plate here will do the same that this one will do, we're already kind of benefiting because it is a thinner and lighter plate. This one down here is extremely thin and light. Now, I don't know what that's gonna stop, but if we can get some good stopping ability out of this one, that would be awesome, because who wouldn't wanna run a plate like that in their carrier? That's extremely thin and light. Now again, less than 1/10 of an inch, I don't have high hopes for that plate. What I'm really looking for is seeing if this plate here will outperform this one, because this plate is not only thinner, but it's also lighter than the AR500 steel. Now we're gonna be doing a variety of different calibers today, but we're gonna start off with handguns. I wanna keep this pretty simple. We're gonna start off with 9mm full metal jacket, and we're gonna do 44 also in full metal jacket. I'm pretty confident that all these plates will stop that, except for maybe the thinnest one. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I think all the other ones will handle this no problem. So let's go ahead and get these out of the way, and then we'll move on to the rifle calibers. Starting off with handguns, we're gonna start with the AR500 steel on the left. We have the 1/4 inch SR500 steel in the middle, and then we have that really thin, less than 1/10 of an inch SR500 steel on the end. Now, the reason why I'm not gonna bother shooting the thicker ones with the handguns is because those plates are rated for much, much higher rifle calibers. So I think it's just kind of a waste of time to do handguns on those. And I'm also pretty confident that this plate and that plate are gonna have no problem with the handguns. But again, I just do wanna start with them just so we can see what they do. And I'm also curious to see what that little guy does. All right, so we're gonna start with the AR500 steel. I'm just gonna go ahead and aim for the center. AR500 steel stopped it no problem, just as we thought. The SR500 1/4 inch, there are 2 shots in here. The first time I shot it, I didn't think I had hit it. I thought maybe I missed it, but I actually got it both times. But yeah, I mean, absolutely nothing. Not a dent, anything. Now this little guy, this is interesting. So obviously it did stop it. There is a little bit, let's see if you can see that. Little bit of a bulge on the back there, not much, but yeah, put a little dent in it, but it did stop it. So starting with the AR500 steel here, I actually hit it twice. It's a little tricky shooting one-handed while holding the camera, so I was aiming at this one, got off a little bit to the left, but I believe this right here was my first impact and not even a dent. I actually hit it twice over here accidentally, and there again, nothing. So no surprise there. Now moving on to the SR500 steel. Once again, this plate is a little bit thinner and lighter than the AR500 steel, but it had no problem. I believe it was this one right here, or maybe that one. It might have been that one actually. Sounds a little bit bigger, but once again, there's nothing. There's no bulge, no impact, no divot. So we're good to go there. And on this one, the super thin guy, once again, little bit of a bulge, honestly, about the same as the 9mm. You can see a larger spot on the plate, hit a little bit harder. Yeah, still a little bit. I don't know if you guys can pick that up, but there's a tiny bit of a bulge on the back there. But it stopped it, so great results so far. Okay, moving on to the rifle calibers, we're gonna start off with this little guy, the 17 HMR. It's a little 17 grain bullet. All 3 original plates are still down there, the ones that I shot with the handgun. The smallest plate, that little 1/10 of an inch, less than 1/10 of an inch plate, I'm really curious to see how it holds up against this. It stopped the handgun rounds, but handgun rounds aren't traveling very fast. They're also a little bit wider. So this guy is traveling very fast. It's a very small bullet. I'll be very impressed if that little plate stops this thing. So we'll see what happens. I am gonna leave all 3 of those original plates up until one of them fail, and then I'll go ahead and bring in one of the thicker SR500 plates to move in the lineup. One other thing I wanted to mention, the AR500 plate is technically rated at NIJ level 3, which should stop 308 ball ammo or M855 green tip. The SR500 plates don't have official ratings, so we'll see what they stop. All right, so looking at the plates, I'm not sure that I hit the AR500 plate. I did switch scopes around on that rifle and I haven't really checked it. So I did notice it shooting a little high. I might have actually just missed that because I don't see any new holes. But either way, I'm confident it would have stopped it. So the SR500 here, 1/4 inch, it hit right there on top. Like I said, it was hitting a little high, but obviously did nothing. Now, what I'm most impressed about is this little guy hit right there, barely a bulge. You can't even hardly notice anything. It did a great job of stopping that. So I'm impressed. So both SR500 plates stopped it. I don't think I hit the AR500, but I'm not too worried about it. If that little guy stopped it, I'm positive that the AR500 would have stopped it. So, all right, let's go ahead and step up the caliber. Okay, so obviously all 3 plates had no problem stopping that little 17 HMR. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna step it up to 5.56. This is the M855 green tip, so it has that steel core penetrator. Technically, the AR500 steel was rated for this, so it should be able to stop it. The 1/4 inch SR500, I guess we'll find out, that is thinner and lighter, so we'll see how it does. I'm very confident that this is gonna go through that little 1/10 of an inch plate. If that stops this, I'll be incredibly impressed. But I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. It's way too thin, but let's find out. By the way, for this one, I was using my Geissele URGI 14.5 inch AR-15 with the Silencer Co. scythe suppressor. All right, so let's see what happened. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that the two larger plates will stop it, but I'm very curious to see if that little 1/10 of an inch plate will stop it. Ooh, it's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. All right, so right off the bat, that looked like it went clean. Yep, that went clean through. So can't say I'm super surprised though. I mean, it's extremely thin plate. I am curious to know if maybe just a standard Full Metal Jacket 5.56 would stop. I might grab one of those and shoot it just to see. But once again, the other two, that guy right there, you can feel a little bit of that steel core penetrator stuck there. Obviously nothing went through. So good job there. This guy, nothing went through. Did break up that spalling quite a bit. You can see the impact right there. But still impressed with this spall coating. Oh, it looks like it is coming out the side a little bit there. Yeah, cracked that side too. Again, we're not really reviewing that spall coating, but it does seem to be doing a decent job. So, all right, AR500 did great, which it, you know, it's not surprising. It is rated for that. The thinner 1/4 inch SR500 also did a great job. So that's holding up there. Unfortunately, our little guy has finally failed, but I think I might grab a Full Metal Jacket just to see if that'll stop it. 77 grain Sierra Match King out of my Geissele URGI going at that little 0.09 inch plate. Let's see if it can stop it. And it did not make it, folks. We have another hole right there. Went clean through. So M855 green tip and 77 grain Sierra Match King went right through that plate. So, you know, it did a good job with handgun. I think this would stop probably most, if not all, handgun rounds. And it also stopped 17 HMR, which means it would stop 22 long rifle. But I think that's about where the capability stops. It's so thin. You know, I mean, you really wouldn't expect much more out of this plate. I tested it kind of out of a novelty to see what it could do. But I can't say I was expecting it to really hold up to those rifle rounds. So the other two are still in play. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the, I think it's a 3/8 inch SR500, and we'll go ahead and we'll add that to the lineup. Up next, we have my Armalite AR10 chambered in 308, and we're shooting 175 grain Sierra Match Kings. I don't think I mentioned it, but we are shooting at 75 yards. I did want to keep a safe distance so I didn't catch any ricochets coming back. .308, 175 grain Sierra Match King. Let's see how it did. Starting here with our largest plate. This is the 3/8 inch plate, and did absolutely nothing to that plate. No dent, no bulge, nothing. So we're good to go there. Now, AR500 plate, technically it is rated for 308, so it should have stopped it. And it did stop it. A little bit of a bulge. Actually, yep, right there. So right down there at the bottom, there is a little bit of a bulge, which means that we must have hit it. Oh yeah, so we did hit it right down there. It's kind of hard to see. You can tell that the spall coating is coming up. So that's where we hit it. Can't really see the plate too well, but it did stop it. Did a number on that plate though. Now, onto the 1/4 inch SR500 plate. Okay, a little bit of a bulge there. So very similar to the AR500. And it hit right there. And you can also tell there is a little bit of a dent there. So far what I'm seeing is you have the SR500 plate, which is a little bit thinner and a little bit lighter than the AR500, but it is holding up pretty comparably. So that's really where the SR500 outperforms the AR500 steel. It gives you the same stopping capabilities, but with less metal. So this plate is a little bit thinner and lighter, but it seems to be stopping everything that the thicker and heavier AR500 steel plate is stopping. Obviously, we have the thicker SR500 steel, not a whole lot thicker. Like I said, we have the 1/4 inch. This one is the 3/8, so just under 1/2 inch, but that one wasn't phased at all by that 308, didn't even dent it. So I think that thing's probably gonna stop everything we throw at it. And of course, we also have the 1/2 inch SR500, but I don't think we're even gonna get to testing that today because I don't think that anything's gonna make it through that 3/8 inch. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna step it up to something even bigger and see how the AR500 and the SR500 hold up. Okay, to finish things off today, we're bringing out the big guns. I have my Savage 110 long action chambered in 300 Winchester Magnum. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I know the AR500 steel plate is not rated for this. I'm not sure about the SR500 plates, but we're gonna shoot them all. We're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna start off with the Hornady 180 grain Superformance. Now, this bullet is traveling at 3,180 feet per second, so it's an extremely fast bullet, and it's 180 grain, so this is gonna far exceed any of the other bullets that have been shot at these plates today. I have my doubts that any of them are gonna be able to stop it, but we're gonna shoot them and see what happens. All right, I had to change up the position just a little bit based on where the camera was sitting. The muzzle blast blew the camera off the table. So we're gonna change it up a little bit and we're gonna go for plate number 2. So again, just a reminder that as far as I know, none of these plates are rated for this caliber or this specific round, but it is gonna be interesting to see if any of them stopped it. I'd be very surprised if the smaller SR500 plate stopped it. I'd be also very surprised if the AR500 plate stopped it. The larger SR500 plate, I think, should have a good chance, but let's see what happened. But right away, I see a clean hole. Woo! Yep, look at that. So we got a clean hole. Wow, look at that. I mean, that is a clean hole right through the smaller SR500 plate. Again, this is quite a bit smaller at only, what is that, 1/4 inch. So 1/4 inch SR500 cut clean through. Look how clean that hole is. I mean, that's a pretty fast round. 180 grains going over 3,100 feet per second. It's extremely good at penetrating. And the AR500 steel also failed, which no surprise there. Another very clean hole. Very clean hole. So I would say based on this testing, these two plates are almost identical in their stopping capabilities, which is really the result that I was expecting to find. AR500 is very capable, which is why it's been used for a long time for ballistic panels. But I think what we're finding here is for a thinner thickness and a lighter plate, a 1/4 inch plate versus the slightly thicker 0.34 inch plate. So it would be 0.25 inch versus 0.34 inch. So the SR500 steel is giving you the option of having a thinner plate and a lighter plate while still giving you the same stopping capabilities as the AR500 steel. And I think that's what we saw today. They both stopped everything equally. They both stopped the 308. Actually, I would say the SR500 actually might have done a slightly better job stopping that 308, just based on the fact that there really wasn't much of a bulge on the back. Very slight bulge, but the AR500 had a larger bulge. You can feel that it was starting to push its way through there. But they did stop it. So very similar up to 308, but that SR500 plate is both thinner and lighter. Now, on to the 3/8 inch plate. So really not that thick. I mean, this is less than 1/2 inch and it's slightly thicker than the AR500 steel, but that just gives you an idea. I mean, there is nothing. There isn't even a bulge on the back. I mean, that plate stopped that with almost no effort at all. So there again, that's really just showing you the capability of this SR500 plate. You can go a little bit lighter and thinner and have the same stopping capability, or you can go just a tiny bit thicker and a little bit heavier, and you can get far superior stopping capabilities. I mean, that cut right through that AR500 plate, no problem. But this SR500, which is a little bit thicker, didn't even phase it at all. So now I want to go ahead and shoot one more bullet. It's a slightly more powerful bullet, and I'm going to shoot it at, well, you know, I'll shoot it at all three again, and let's see what it does. Okay, for our grand finale today, we're going to be shooting our 300 Winchester Magnum one more time, but we're going to be shooting a 212 grain Hornady ELDX bullet. These are hand loads. They're traveling at about 2,850 feet per second. So it's a very large bullet and it's traveling very fast. We're going to shoot all three plates again, and we're going to see how they hold up to this very, very powerful round. Okay, so go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know if you think any of these plates stopped this final round. It's a larger bullet, it's a lot heavier, so therefore it's carrying a lot more energy, but it is going slower than the 180 grain Superformance round. And we know, generally speaking, speed is what defeats body armor. So drop a comment down below, let me know, do you think the 212 grain made it through? All right, so just walking up here, very interesting results. You know what? It stopped it. Look at that. Wow, that is impressive. That is super impressive. So the 180 grain Superformance did make it through, but that bullet is traveling extremely fast. You know, almost 3,200 feet per second. So it's an extremely fast bullet, and it cut right through. But the 212 grain did not, which is extremely impressive because it's not traveling slow. I mean, it's still traveling over 2,800 feet per second. So we're talking about a huge amount of energy, 212 grains traveling well over 2,800 feet per second. And it stopped that. That is incredibly impressive. And this, remember guys, this is the 1/4 inch SR500 steel. All right, let's take a look at the AR500. So this is the 180 grain Superformance that cut right through. However, oh, yep, it went through as well. Okay, so this was a great example. Where did that thing hit? Let me see if I can peel this off. Okay, so I went ahead and peeled back this spall coating to give you a good look at this. This is a great example of the difference in the AR500 and the SR500 steel. So as you can see, we shot these plates twice with a 300 Win Mag. The first time, both rounds went clean through both plates. That was 180 grain Superformance from Hornady, traveling extremely fast, well over 3,100 feet per second. And it did cut through both those plates. However, when I stepped up the bullet size to the 212 grain ELDX, even though it was still traveling very fast, you know, well over 2,800 feet per second, that's not a slow bullet, that's traveling extremely fast. And being a 212 grain, it's carrying a lot of energy on target. However, you can see that our SR500 1/4 inch plate, that's only a 1/4 inch of steel, and this plate is fairly light, and it stopped that. A little bit of a bulge on the back, actually a good sized bulge on the back there, but very impressed that it was able to stop that. However, our AR500 plate, which once again is a little bit thicker, that's closer to 1/2 inch, that's well, 0.34 inch, so maybe not that close to half an inch, but it is a little bit thicker than our SR500 plate. However, that 300 Win Mag went clean through. Now, nothing against AR500 steel. You know, this plate is very capable for what it's rated for, and it's not rated for 300 Win Mag. So I wouldn't expect it to stop either of those bullets. However, the purpose of today's video was to compare it to the SR500 steel, and I think that we were successful in doing that. So you can see, even though the 180 grain Superformance went through both of these plates because it was traveling extremely fast, the difference here was the 212 grain ELDX. Still traveling at a good speed, well over 2,800 feet per second, and carrying a ton of energy, being a 212 grain bullet. However, the SR500 thinner and lighter plate stopped it, whereas the AR500 steel, which was both a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier, did not stop that 300 Win Mag round. It went clean through the back. Now, glancing over here at the 3/8 inch SR500 plate, once again, stopped both those rounds, no problem. Not even really a bulge on the back, honestly. Maybe barely, but really nothing. So very impressed with that. That's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the SR500 plates. Were you surprised at how they performed? Were you surprised at how the AR500 plate held up? Or have you ever heard of SR500? Let me know down below. I also want to mention once again that Oshkosh provided these plates, so I really appreciate them doing that for me. If you're interested in buying these particular plates or have any other interest in this type of metal or other metals for custom cutting or bending, check out their website, oshkosh.com/overlanding creation. Like I said, you can get 50% off your first order. One last thing I want to mention, Torch EDC is a sponsor of the channel. They make these awesome backpacks, this 30-liter backpack, as well as many others. So if you're interested in any of the products that Torch EDC has to offer, please go on their website, torchedc.com/overlanding creation, or you can go on their website and use my custom discount code overland10 to get you 10% off any of the Torch EDC products on their website. All right, that'll do it for us this week, guys. I post every Monday, so be sure to check in next Monday, and I will catch you in the next video.